That's option one. Option two is go wild as fast as you want up the motorway.
Yeah. Do those those gravel pits or whatever, do they provide any sort of protection?
They would. They would
To the begin,
obscure. I think it'd be a mixture of concealment and hard. It's a hard stop. If you are shooting this way, it won't go through.
Yeah, I quite like the idea of going that way to the left. And what's that up further up?
So this looks like another little. I imagine in the original it is a farm.
Yeah.
It is a dust farm here, to be honest, but it's some sort of manor or farm buildings.
Do you know what the Soviet the Reconnaissance, what sort of units they'd have?
It would depend on.
I should imagine it'd just be like a light tanks or jeeps or.
I imagine so at most it'll be.
Because they've got to be mobile, haven't they?
So it'll depend on the actual main unit. So if the main unit is BTR, do you know what one of them is?
Yeah.
It's like the wheeled vehicles.
It's like an armoured personnel carrier sort of thing.
So BTR's wheels. BMP, that'll be a tracked vehicle.
Yeah.
And then that'll sort of form the main basis. I'm probably getting this horrendously wrong, but that's the main basis of your motor regiment.
Right.
So whether it's a BMP, BTR, MTLB, I think is the other option. I'm not sure if that's in there, but basically a unit will have its main vehicle type, and then it will have, in this case, I imagine tanks, armored support. But at the initial phase, the reconnaissance, you could imagine that it's broken off a platoon or so of BTR, BMP, and they've gone on ahead.
Yeah, it'll be light vehicles essentially. Like heavily artillery or tanks.
I think it'll be the same vehicles that you expect in the main body.
Oh, right, okay.
It's just they've been broken off to go on ahead.
Okay.
Type thing. Right, and so I suppose the other, it's whether we are worried that they are in the town and how much we think we can scoot around them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the town, where would you be? I mean, for my mind, you'd be close to the highway because you came off the highway and you'd be observing the highway.
Possibly. So I mean, there's a good chance that. So it is
like around there, maybe.
So there's certainly.
You could withdraw further into the town, couldn't you?
There is certainly ways off the motorway into the town itself. So whether it is this, or whether you think it is coming off here or what have you.
This could all be a red herring. What's on the other side of the map as well?
Over this way.
Yeah,
I mean so. There's so what have we got? We have multiple accesses here. So road. You've got one access here, one access or exit here. You've got that exit or entrance there, entrance or exit. And then I think, as we were saying before, just because it's a road doesn't mean there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah, from going in between the buildings.
Trundling through a hedgerow or trundling through. You can just drive over the wire.
Right.
And wreck someone's fence. There's nothing stopping you saying, "Well, don't trust that. I'm gonna go through here," or what have you. So, in some ways, the town offers us an interesting option where there's a lot of routes. So I don't know quite how to word it, but it takes a lot to hold down a city or a town. It takes if you've got your platoon or your troop or whatever you've got, if you have them here, or just drive around you,
you can't
or drive round that way, or drive round that way
quickly enough.
So,
but one thing I would say is that if they're in defensive positions, I mean, they'd have like mortars and stuff in those buildings, like targeted.
Not sure if they buy
or bazookas or wherever they. What's the Russian equivalent?
RPGs?
Yeah.
Potentially RPGs. I would say, so depending on the vehicle you come up against, you may have. So the BTR, that'll have. I think it's actually, I don't know what it is back in the 80s, but it's got a machine gun effectively, and the BTR, depending on which type, it's either got a. Now I don't know if it's a cannon or I think it's the same as their recoilless rifle.
Yeah.
Or an auto cannon. So that's a nasty piece of kit. That's basically an automatic cannon that fires explosive shells.
Yeah.
I think they both have anti-tank guided missiles, which are quite effective and something to be kind of concerned about.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, the squad itself will have small arms, rocket-propelled grenades, stuff like that. So that's what we've probably come up against.
You know, I mean, would it be worth sending like a quick? I mean, what's like the quickest vehicles you've got in this initial group?
Well, I tell you what, we'll use that as a chance to look at what we have. So we have a mixture of our own armour, so tanks. We have a platoon mounted in armoured personnel carriers.
Right.
And then we have a reconnaissance mounted in the same vehicles. These are our anti-tank guided missiles, so tow vehicles.
Yeah.
And I think
that's a wide missile, isn't it?
Yeah.
On a big wire.
It may be. I can't remember if it's. Sometimes it pops up in here, and you can see, for example, the type. I don't know. I think it'll either be, like you say, a big string, or I think some of them are guided by a little thing on the back, like a optic, and it sends like a. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, that again, I do not know.
So there's no like sort of like a single Jeep or anything like that.
No. So it is.
Because my suggestion was to send a reconnaissance vehicle to scout out where that Recce force is. So like you might be able to sort of divert your forces if you find out where they actually are.
They're not too bad for speed, so you can see down here. The speed's not too bad.
Yeah, and they're not full of troops or anything. So
these ones have. So each of them have. You see these little icons above. So that's a recce or a scout squad, another scout squad, scout platoon HQ, and then these all form part of the scout platoon. These are part of that unit, but I personally don't think we need to be brushing them up. And then this is like a ground holding armoured infantry or mechanised infantry type thing. What I would probably, if you want us to, it's how we do it and how aggressive we go. Whether we do it in stepped approach, whether we do it in a big risky manoeuvre, because we could bit by bit work our way forward and say, have we spotted them? No. Have we spotted them? No. You could do a certain element of that. I might say, if you are going to do that, I might suggest
Yeah, I think I'd do that.
I might suggest. So what I might say is, it might be. So you're effectively reconnaissance against the route that you want to take, and that might move away from when you're saying multiple routes. It may, in effect, you may be doing the reconnaissance the traditional way. So you're doing reconnaissance that way rather than that way. They're feeling out to see where is the enemy not. Let's go the way they're not. Potentially. You could do both directions, to be honest.
Yeah, I think.
If we want.
Yeah, I think I'd designate what units I'm going to use for reconnaissance. Like what are, you know, the least valuable and least, you know,
we could say I would. So these three here are certainly reconnaissance units with scouts.
And
so
would you send them down the road together? I mean, I know that's how they do, probably in the army, isn't it? But like I was saying, like you want to like you won't get any benefit from like spreading them out so you could see a lot larger cone of vision, or
you could.
Because if you
might be useful. So what you can think about. I'm just going to see if what else is on the. We could, if you want, have something like this. So one kicks out. That way.
That's what
one kicks out that way.
Because it's not like really an offensive action. You're not like it's just purely reconnaissance. You're not looking for like. For whatever they call it, force multiplication or whatever, and you just want the largest sort of amount of information you can get quickly.
Shall we get this? So I'll let you and you almost saw it for a second there. So this is the actual modification again.
All right, brilliant.
so it's taken the olive greens and just made it into Choc Chip camo, basically.
So what is that the official name? Choc Chip camo?
I think it's something like Desert BDU.
Yeah.
People call it Choc Chip, I think.
Yeah.
It's what you saw during the first Gulf War and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I'd give a go. I tell you what, I almost feel like it's easier to how far out do we want to go this way? Do we want to go this way?
Yeah, I don't think I want to go too far out, because like I wouldn't want them totally isolated either.
Or potentially. So sometimes it's worth coming down to eye level as well to see. You could work your way up through this shrub, and so you have sight of the hill. Don't like that. You back out, you come back in, have sight of the thing. So there's nothing stopping us doing that.
Yeah, essentially like
or
like about almost 180 degree view of the town, so you're getting all the right hand view and like the top of it as well.
So I'll tell you what, I'll characterise it as like you can either head down to here.
Yeah, I think you should send one along that road there, to get like a sort of back view of it. You know,
if you
because they say I don't know if it's a bit of a cliche, but you say like information's power, isn't it? You know, knowledge is power.
So how far up the road do you want us to try?
Basically till how long is it till you can sort of like get a good angle of the town?
So you can either head down to, I think we could see from here.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's going to need to have pretty decent binoculars.
Yeah.
But
because the reason why is that obviously you can see. Well, could you get that like that platoon observer background this way?
So I'd keep the platoon with the platoon as a unit potentially. Oops.
Yeah. What's the other observer?
So he is attached at the company level.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's. I think if we want, we could.
Yeah.
We could. That's the wrong guy. There's the company observer. There's nothing stopping us. I don't think. Oops.
Because can you send like coordinates back? Like if another unit sees the enemy from that angle, can they send like the coordinates back?
I was just going to say, here you go. So if we want, there's nothing stopping us to detach him from the company and chuck him in with a scout group. I don't know if that affects the. I don't know.
Because the sooner
they've got a radio. They can call in far on the radio.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, because I was going to say like this, if you can spot sort of the enemy there from the rear, sort of effectively almost from the rear, then you could call artillery on them sooner, couldn't you?
Possibly, yeah, I think. Right, so got him down to here. It's whether we want to play it cautious or play it a little more up this direction. We don't have. The other thing, we don't have to make a decision right now.
Right.
We can make that.
Yeah. I think I'd be a bit like General Patton and go gung ho with these reconnaissance units, because even if they're shot at, you're getting information of.
Yes. So oops, that's the wrong choice. Hang on, make sure he's not.
I mean, obviously, I'd be much more careful about people's life in real life, but because it's simulation, you can say, well, I'm going to be like General Patton or whatever, or a bit blasé with things.
I'm gonna get them to park up here. So they're in the shrubland. This is a big threat, the hilltop, but you don't. That's our one threat basically. Unless there's someone in this shrub, I think we've got enough concealment from certainly from the town, potentially from. What is that? So that's there's like a bit of a hill down into the town. But that's where we're coming from, so you'd hope there's no one there.
Right.
That's the first scout I reckon placed. I would be tempted. I tell you what I did like and you said it earlier. I would be tempted to drop off the observer at this building on the way.
Yeah, so, definitely, yeah.
Oops. So we can drop him off on our little ride and then have him set up there and then make a decision on where to go next with the scout, potentially. Okay. Don't know what to do with the headquarters scout.
Yeah, I mean...
It's still a scout. It's whether we want to...
Because we're not attacking or necessarily defending, you've got to be like more sort of reactive to what the enemy does, haven't you, I suppose? Because you can't say, oh, well, I'm going to send everything down there, because you just don't know the situation yet.
Where do you want him? I suppose we could keep him on the road.
Yeah, I'd keep him central. Is he more important? I think if he dies, is morale going to drop?
Well, I think it. So he. And this is where I have to remember this. So I think he is a effective leader, +1.
Yeah.
I think he's. I think that's morale. So I think he's a little bit sad.
Oh, okay.
At the moment, I think. Let's double check. So it won't have a. It'll have some. It does have some effect.
Yeah.
It's like soft factors. It's difficult to tell.
Yeah.
It will have some effect. Don't know what. He's already having a negative effect on his units anyway by having a -1. But generally, he's a good leader.
I think drive him into the middle of whiskey.
There's nothing. I mean, we do have to at some point
Hold.
take whiskey, so there's nothing stopping us having a little drive up to the shrub somewhere in the centre.
Yeah, what I do as well is park, maybe like, you see that building in the front of Whiskey? I'd get like a couple of squads in there.
Can do, yeah. That would put. So I mean, and
maybe that other building there, that not the Observe one, but there's two buildings. There's that one, and then there's the one behind it as well. So